grace, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Hakakadash.
Honor to Apostle Great Millstone, who will teach well. It's Great Millstone, Dallas. You know, we come at you with a Saturday class here for the younger brothers, man, younger disciples. And today we just gonna pretty much go into the future nuclear destruction of Babylon the Great, aka America, man. Okay, because 2/3 of our people, all right, the rest of these heathen that live here in America, Babylon the Great, they don't believe that their life will be soon uprooted. You know, they think that this place is going to continue to go on for generation and generation. Think they're going to get to see their kids, you know, grow up, go to college, you know, and graduate and have a family and live here forever. You know, like this is the kingdom of heaven, man. Okay, just like every other kingdom before Babylon the Great, America was raised up. It failed. You know, it had a particular time on the earth. It had its bounds. All right, we went into that in camp yesterday a little bit, man, about the bounds of Esau Edom's kingdom, of his blessing, his birthright, man. Okay, he was given something temporal. Only 2 nations out of the whole, Bible were granted dominion over the earth. One was temporal, and one is eternal. And of course, the one that's temporal has to be set up first before that eternal one can come forth. You know, and right now, us men of the Lord here at Great Millstone, and we believe that we have 100% truth from our elder apostles and bishops on down. We believe that, hey, we're in that temporal kingdom right now, man. All right, before that eternal kingdom is set up. All right, I got something for you. Go ahead.
This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verse 5, and it says, "For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, the end is manifest." Just backing up your point, here we are at the end. You know, it's evident to see with the signs and the fact that these nations are preparing for nuclear war and attempt to strengthen up their defense systems, their military weaponry is being sharpened. That is a sign that the scriptures speak of the end. You know.
I got a precept too.
You can make it. No, you got it.
All right. This is just to back up your point. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 7. It says, "For the mystery of iniquity doth already work." And you can break it down. "Only he who now letteth will let."
The mystery of iniquity. All right, that's before this truth was set up 50 plus years ago, going on 60. You know, before the other Abba Bivens and the men under him came in, and our apostles and elders were set up here in these latter days. All right, he was a mystery, man. No one knew who that was, but now we know. That's Esau Edom, man. You are that mystery of iniquity, man. You're the wicked that the Bible speaks of. Okay.
It's all right. So it says, "Only he who now letteth will let."
That's the Most High Yahweh, you know, through His Son Yahweh Shai. He's the one that's letting this captivity to go forth. Mm-hmm. All right. He's the one that put you, that gave you into our hand, man. Well, gave us into your hand. You know, you didn't do this miraculous work of taking down the Israelites, which is the strongest nation on the planet. All right. We're the upright, man. We're the ones that's truly supposed to be ruling this earth, okay? But the Lord threw us down, okay? Mm-hmm. And He made us weak to where you can overcome us, man. You know.
Yep. Yeah, Isaiah the 10th chapter goes into that, where it talks about shall the axe boast itself against the one who hews it. You know, like pretty much like through the Spirit, you didn't give yourself this power to be able to rule the world in the way that you're doing it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you know, just as you know, Isaac gave Esau the blessing. Who was Isaac in the Spirit? It's Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna read this again. Mm-hmm. "For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way."
Right, until he will be taken out of the way. Hey, it all starts here. It all starts here with this work that we're doing right now. The Lord all told us, hey, just go out to the highways and byways and be into the marriage, man. Okay, and we're doing that right now through these video epistles and going out there week in and week out. before the 2/3 of our people, the 1/3 hopeful elect, the heathen, man. Okay, this is what was commanded of us by Yahweh Shai, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, through this, we know that we gonna be what? We gonna be delivered, and we gonna shape the kingdoms of the earth, man. We're forcing our power to act. Okay, we're proclaiming the names of Yahweh Shai at a high rate throughout the earth nowadays, man. Something that's not being done by majority of the people on the earth, man. You got billions of people on the earth. You know, you got X amount of Israelites. I ain't gonna say how many. You know, today we got in trouble for counting Israel. We don't know how many Israelites it is on the earth, man.
We know
it's more.
We know it's more Israelites than all the other people, all
right.
the other nations. We know that for a fact.
Right. And the remnant is a small number compared to the rest. So this work is something very precious, man, and we should treat it as such.
That's right.
You got something else, guys?
No, actually, you know what? I'm gonna read verse 8 too, just to
Okay.
back you up, and then we'll get into it. Verse 8, it says, "And then shall that wicked be revealed. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming."
Right. That spirit of his mouth. We the spirit of the mouth of Yahweh Shai, man. You know, the Lord, it says the scripture say, hey, the Lord is a great king. Okay? Kings don't come off their throne to send messages to another kingdom. All right, they send heralds, they send messengers, man, and we are those. All right, we're those heralds, we're those messengers, man. Okay? It says what? And he's gonna come and he's gonna destroy him in the brightness of his coming. I remember Habakkuk, the 3rd chapter, man. You know, when the scripture say about how the Lord's gonna enter this realm and it's gonna shake this realm, man. The Lord, the sea's gonna be displaced. You know, the animals gonna be like, damn, what's going on? You know, more so the people too. That Revelation, the 1st chapter. You know, they gonna see him. We all gonna get to see how Bashim Shai in this lifetime, man. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I was it on that.
Okay. Great. That was pretty much an intro. We're gonna get right into the lesson. This is LockheedMartin.com. It says the Golden Dome for America. I'm gonna get these first 2 paragraphs. Pretty much, if you type in Trump Golden Dome defense, you will see the first link and it'll say Lockheed Martin. This is Golden Dome for America. Golden Dome stands as a layered defense shield safeguarding the American homeland. Yeah, that's fine.
It's first paragraph. Golden Dome stands as a layered defense shield, safeguarding the American homeland with unwavering precision, ensuring the security and resilience of our nation. Golden Dome for America is a revolutionary concept.
A concept, so a theory, something that hasn't been put into actual action yet. Okay, so this this Golden Dome that DJ Trump wants to establish, it's not there. You know, and through the spirit, it's not gonna be there, man. All right, you're not gonna have time, Esau, to set these things up. You know, to try to divert prophecy. And you know what? Even if the Lord did let you set this thing up, it's not gonna do nothing, man. Because the scripture's gonna stand bold, and they gonna stay hold of what they say, man. All right.
Faithful and true.
Mm-hmm. Faithful and true.
Yep. So
Yeah. This one.
Okay. Golden Dome for America is a revolutionary concept to further the goals of peace through strength and President Trump's vision for deterring adversaries.
Says peace through strength.
Peace through strength.
That's
something BB Netanyahu done said too.
Yeah. Yep. I think we brought that out yesterday. Yeah, peace through strength. So he's gonna pretty much beat you into submission, and that's why the hammer of the earth. I think you mentioned that yesterday 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, that's Esau exercising his blessing, man. All right. He said, hey, I'm gonna establish my peace through my strength, through my military might, through the blessing that the Lord gave me, man. You got a precept?
Yeah, quick before this. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 11. You can speak on it.
Amen.
It's speaking about the wicked mindset. It says, "Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth.
Yep. Read that one more time.
Wisdom of Solomon 2 and verse 11. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth.
So something that's feeble, that's weak, it's really that's you, Esau. You know, you're that feeble and that weak head. All right, because it said, was it 2nd Ezra 13? When the Lord comes back, he's in the midst of World War III. He's gonna make what? He's gonna make the nations fight, man. All right, and while the Lord is in the midst of World War III, guess what's gonna be flying overhead? Missiles gonna be hitting their particular points throughout the earth, man. Okay, so that's it's going the way that the Lord has His whole plan set up. All right, for the destruction of Babylon the Great, it's gonna happen whether you like it or not, man. Okay, it's nothing that you can do. You can't upset prophecy, man. All right, you can try as best as you want. You know, that's why the Lord says in Matthew the 24th chapter, you know, the time is gonna be short. All right, so for the elect's sake, so it's gonna happen. You know, your rulership has a set bound that you just can't pass. You know, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. You got it. Isaiah 48 verse 22. There is no peace, saith Yahweh, unto the wicked.
You say that one more time, bro.
Yeah, Isaiah 48 and 22. There is no peace, saith Yahweh, unto the wicked.
Woo, there's no peace to the wicked. And we established early on in this sermon that you are the wicked that the Bible speaks of, man. Okay? You are the wicked. Malachi tells you what? You are the border of wickedness. You know, so where you begin and end at, wherever you at in the earth, wickedness is going to be pushed at an all-time high. Yep. All right? The Lord tells you, I got you, that that the wicked were created for the day of evil. All right? Right. So we coming into that time of that day of evil where you gonna be destroyed, man. You got it, Shop.
This is Sirach chapter 19, verse 22. The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, neither at any time the counsel of sinners prudence.
You got it.
You know, just going into Esau and his whole agenda, you know, is complete and utter wickedness. All right, so and that's not knowledge. You know, he's trying to push, you know, his agenda. All right, and it's all sinful until you have Hashem Shai.
Let's go back to that article, and then we're gonna get Isaiah 34, 1 through 2. Okay. You just reread it.
This is back in the article. It says, Golden Dome for America is a revolutionary concept to further the goals of peace through strength and President Trump's vision for deterring adversaries from attacks on the homeland.
Peace from deterring adversaries from doing it. So before they even do it, he wants to have a system set up to whereas it'll knock it out before it even happens.
Yeah.
Which lines up with Palantir. You know, this whole surveillance system that's being set up that's contracted with the military.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And y'all know what Palantir means, right?
Look forward.
Yeah, to see it far off. You know what I'm saying? That's what Palantir means. You know, so they're clearly it's clearly set up, you know, through this whole beast system, this AI infrastructure, the big beautiful bill, you know what I'm saying, and the Golden Dome, which is really a means of surveillance, that they're getting ready to wage war on the average everyday American. That's what's getting ready to happen. You know, you got it.
Okay. Back in the article, it says, this next generation defense shield will identify incoming projectiles, calculate trajectory, and deploy interceptor missiles to destroy them mid-flight, safeguarding the homeland and projecting American strength.
Right. Mm-hmm. So get Isaiah 34, 1 through 2.
I got that.
We got it.
Okay. This is Isaiah 34, verses 1 and 2. It says, come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people.
Yep, and that's being brought forth first to us. Okay. At Revelations 11, man, we standing on our feet with great boldness. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we're pushing the words of God, outside, letting these truly the kings of the earth, you know what's gonna happen. All right. Your kingdom, your rulership is done. All right, you're at your limit. All right. It's time for the Israelites to be set up in their rightful place, man. Okay. Go ahead.
It says, let the earth hear that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. Verse 2 says, for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them, he hath delivered them to the slaughter.
Right. Read that one more time. Then someone who got Joel too?
I do.
Okay, read that second verse one more time.
Yep. Isaiah 34 and verse 2, it says, for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations.
Right, the righteous anger. Go ahead.
And his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them, he hath delivered them to the slaughter.
Right. So during the time of World War III, in which we're vastly approaching that, you saw Edom, he mentioned last year about the draft being 18 through 26. Now he come up with another one where it's 26 to like 34 years old, man. Okay, so that's the age, depth, 18 through 34. And he's looking for the draft, individuals, male or female, and these guys that's sitting on the sidelines that has military experience. No matter how old you are, Esau's gonna draft you in there, man. Okay, because he needs all hands and all bodies on deck. And during that time of World War III, hey man, Lord gonna destroy you, man. Okay, 2/3 of our people that signed up for that foolishness, man, and that went over there where you might have did that just for Jake dumb as hell. Jake could go, yeah, a Hellcat, a fucking Camaro, a Mustang. These niggas are stupid, bro. You went over there to go get a degree or whatnot, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You might not have went over there to go fight in the infantry side of things, man. You might have been behind a computer. But hey, that time Esau ass gonna throw your ass a helmet and a gun, and your ass is going over there to the Middle East to die. Okay, you're not coming back from that war. You got something.
No, I was just gonna say that's gonna be their grave site. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go over there, you get shipped out there to the Valley of Jehoshaphat. The Levant region, you ain't coming back. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be it. And that's what a lot of these. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I said, yeah, you done, son.
Yeah, and a lot of these YNs and these young niggas and these women. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these just these niggas. You know what I'm saying? That's out here just running them up. You know what I'm saying? The Lord gonna have it to where their ass gonna get drafted, and they gonna go over there. A lot of them gonna go over there to the Middle East and get blown the hell up. You know what I'm saying? That's written in their life. So these people, even people in the military. God bless America, and, go U.S. Air Force. All these niggas. You know what I'm saying? If you see, they get that call. You got to go over there to the Middle East. You got to go to Afghanistan. You got to go to Iraq, whatever the case may be. That's gonna be it. That when you get that letter, that's it. Your ass is grass. The best thing for your ass to do is to go to jail.
Yeah.
You get that letter and you be like, you know what, I ain't going. Go to jail. At the end of the day, that'll be a test of faith.
Yeah.
For if that were to happen to a brother, God forbid, Yahweh Shah forbid that doesn't happen. I mean, but we don't know. You know what I'm saying? There's the scriptures talk about how we'll be locked up, and that could be a brother's lot if they in that age range to get a letter to go to the military draft, and you don't go, and you be like, you know what, I'm just go get. I ain't gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? But hey, who knows? But it'll be a test of faith for sure. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, and that's what a lot of, in times of war, a lot of nations, what they do is, of course, or even times of just hard times in general, and the military has to take away the food and they take control of the food supply. They then control who eats, and that's going to be by a lot of people going to be able to eat or they're able to have resources by signing up for the military because they'll be in control. So just in the time of Egypt with Joseph, right, it said that a lot of the individuals, they sold themselves willingly into slavery. We're going to see a lot of individuals sell themselves into slavery, for one, of course, by getting the MOTV, but another way is by entering into the military, which that is synonymous anyway. A lot of them officials, they already got the MOTV. They already got they chipped up. You know what I'm saying? So that's soon to come. It's all coming down, and playing out right before our eyes, man.
And if I could add, a lot of them too were Freemasons.
Yeah.
know, a lot of them are tapped in on the left hand side, especially when you start to get up higher in the ranks.
Yep.
You know, a lot of them, the officers and those various different captains
Mhm.
and lieutenants and whatnot, they be tapped in, bro.
Yeah.
You know, they be knowing ahead of time what's coming down the pipe before you know their soldiers or their
Yeah, of course.
subordinates. You know.
Or you
But I was gonna say too, because you even see a lot of division amongst, like, I saw Eve. I don't know if a brother shared it in the chat or where I saw it, but I saw Eve saying that she only signed up for the military for the GI Bill, for VA housing,
VA housing, yep.
pretty much to
Free
center-
student no student loans on that. Free education.
all the amenities and the benefits that you get. And my brother Malak made a great point. How much more so when they're gonna incentivize you to, how much more so will the incentives be food, water, and your essentials? Are people gonna just be quick to hop on that? You know what I'm saying? Right now, it's in the sense of like, oh, I don't know, I don't really feel like joining. It's a thing of choice, but in that day, it's not gonna feel like a thing of choice to most people because they're gonna be struggling like a motherfucker. People are already struggling now, but in that day, it's gonna be far worse than what we're seeing right now.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. And they'll often make it a family thing. They'll often make it like if your immediate family, one of your members from your immediate family serve, your family will have a source of comfort, and they'll be able to stay up on a military base. So, you know, the firstborn son, firstborn daughter, they go ahead and serve. Your family's you're gonna be able to be like, okay, my family's gonna be safe. So you're gonna have your grandma calling you, hey, you want to think about doing the military thing? I mean, you get good benefits. You know, you're a manly man anyway, right? You're alpha male, right? Go ahead and be in the military. A lot of niggas gonna fold, man.
or you want to speak on?
Yeah, and if they don't go into the military, they definitely go into the police force because right now, you know, we here in Dallas, they went ahead and got rid of the college degree, so you actually go right out of high school and join DPD now. And so that you just have to take a college placement test.
Yeah.
And they're paying almost $80,000.
Yeah, cops get paid a decent amount. You know, don't let them idiots fool you thinking cops don't get paid. Nah, them taxpayer dollars be heavy on their paycheck. You know,
They about to get a lot of bonuses for picking you damn Mexican niggas up, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be cashing out.
all right, let's get Joel too.
You went from the top.
Yeah.
Yep, this Joel chapter 2 and verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain.
Right, we doing that right now. Who's speaking? All right, speaking these words of Yahweh Shem Shot, man. And we ain't really worried about no so-called Christians, man. We ain't worried about Jake that's in these other different religions and philosophies. Fuck them, man. All right, we ain't in the time of that. We out there on the highways and byways, and we gonna continue to preach the same thing. If Jake ain't coming up humbly, you know, with their head down, willing to learn, we ain't going back and forth with nobody, man. We ain't in the season of that. We too close to getting the fuck up out of here, you know.
And you got to make sure that you're blowing the right trumpet too.
Yep.
Just to land back on that point, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to make sure that the right sound is being blown, not a sound of mirth and partying. It's a sound of alarm of war. You know, like pretty much a sound of pay attention.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But Jake is blowing the wrong, you know, playing the wrong tune. They're playing the wrong. They're singing the wrong song. They're playing the wrong note. They're blowing the wrong trumpet.
Continuing on, Joel chapter 2, middle of the verse. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahweh Shah cometh, for it is nigh at hand. Verse 2. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness.
Right. And that's before the missiles hit. You know, that's how it's gonna happen. You know, it's gonna be bright unless the Lord is obviously telling you it's gonna be in high noon, around noonday. The sun gonna be out. You know, but hey, you know, missiles start coming, flying by. They gonna block out the sun, man. All right. There's gonna be so many missiles, and then after the missiles hit, you know, you're gonna have that nuclear mushroom, man. That's gonna go up.
Multiples of them.
Multiples of them, man. and after a nuke that caused the weather to act up, man.
Yeah, nuclear. They call it nuclear winter.
Yep, nuclear winter. All that fallout, that soot in the air, it's gonna block out the sun, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, continuing on. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong.
Right, great people and a strong, man. It's not talking about actual people. It's talking about those missiles. Okay, not the Lord ain't talking about because it's mentioned in Isaiah 9:5. It breaks that down about how the past wars were fought with garments rolled in blood, confused noise. This war is gonna be fought with burning and fuel of fire, man. Okay, so this is gonna be a different type of layout, and these people are really bugged out because they think that the World War III is just gonna be another war, just another war like Afghanistan or Vietnam. Like, nah, nigga, this is it. This is the war to end all wars, man. It's not gonna be fought like your regular war. It's gonna really be fought mainly through press of a button, through thermonuclear destruction, man. And of course, you're gonna have your aircrafts and things like that, because as the scriptures say, Satan and his angels, man. Right? That's Esau, Edom, and his military. His fighter jets, his helicopters, his tanks, his sea warcrafts, man. All these things, that he has, that's gonna be used to try to fight the Lord. All right, he has that. Okay, but mainly World War III is gonna be fought by thermonuclear destruction, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, continuing on, Joel 2:2, middle of the verse. A great people and a strong. There have not been ever the like.
Right. So all these nations, and you can go read through the scriptures, man. You can read about the Philistines, and you can read about the Israelites, the armies we had. All right, the Babylonians, the Syrians. All right, the Persians. All these great armies, the Greeks, the Romans. All these great armies that's ever been established on the earth. All right, so you telling me this army that the Lord is speaking of in Joel, the 2nd chapter, is different from them? All right, if they were the same type of army? All right, no. Okay, so this is a different type of army. Go ahead.
It reads, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations.
Right, many generations. So it's not going to be no more war in the earth, man. All right, as after this, it's going to be the rulership of the Israelites. All right, we going to have that main dominion. The only ones that's going to run mainly be cracking skulls is us. Okay, if you ain't living by the ways of the law, statutes, commandments. All right, once we release the heathen and put Esau, Edom in that pit. Hey, if you ain't abiding by the law, statutes, and commandments, that's when we gonna make a move on the heathen, man. Okay.
Well, the scriptures talk about, if I may add real quick, the scriptures talk about how all the weapons and stuff will be burned up.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So like after that's done, you know what I'm saying, they're not gonna have no, you ain't gonna have no, ICBM thermonuclear missile sitting somewhere in a bunker in America after we in the kingdom, but there's a broken arrow missile just sitting somewhere. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's like all that's gonna be destroyed.
What them Genesis niggas say that that Esau still gonna be established when we set up the kingdom. Like, bro, you think we really go, bro? We gonna be gods, man, and we gonna let Esau still have rulership while we still established, man? No, that makes zero sense, bro.
They're not gonna want to fight us. I mean, they're gonna, they're not gonna want to fight us due to the fact of how, the Lord gonna put the spirit on us. We might have spiritual power too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we gonna, like you think Esau gonna, like Nate says, Bishop Nathaniel, we gonna look up, we can take them down. Like nah, like that's not gonna happen.
Nah. They ain't gonna think that thought. All these other nations and these guys that they worship, they paint their images or whatnot. Hey, they gonna actually physically see us, man. They gonna see like, damn, they are totally different. The Israelites, we gonna look a physical way. We gonna have that glow about us. We gonna have that ancient statue that we once had again, man. Okay, They ain't gonna think of to fuck with us anymore, man. And the scriptures speak on that heavily. Go ahead.
Let me read this real quick.
Okay, you got
back to it real fast. Micah 7:16. The nations shall see and be confounded at all their might. They shall lay their hand upon their mouth. Their ears shall be deaf. They shall lick the dust like a serpent, They shall move out of their holes like the worms of the earth, going into the fact that when they're going to be in those bunkers. They shall be afraid of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, and shall fear because of thee. See that? So they're gonna be fearing when they see us come out them chariots, man, with the new bodies. They're gonna be afraid.
Yeah.
They're gonna fear. You know what I'm saying? So when they see us, they're not gonna want to fight us, man. We're gonna be immortal. We're gonna be like gods. Like the scripture says, like the house of David shall be like gods, and the house of Israel should be like King David. They're gonna see us and they're gonna know like these men, these individuals, they're untouchable. The Israelites, they're untouchable. We can't do anything with them. We're not gonna want to do anything with them because we know that they're gonna destroy us.
Yeah.
They gonna know, like bro, trust me. The heathen gonna know not to play no fucking games. You still gonna have other individuals that's still gonna be, bucking up and you know what I'm saying, because they're not gonna be in the new covenant's not gonna be with them, so they're not gonna have the laws in the inward parts. So they're still gonna be dealing with the flesh. They're still gonna be dealing with demons.
Yep.
They're still gonna be dealing with thoughts of rebellion, just as we do now in this flesh here. But we're gonna be spiritual. We're gonna be perfect to know, like, you know what I'm saying. So then, it's you got it.
Yeah, it's just gonna be like how when we got first Exodus, man. The heathen knew that our God was with us. What happened in Jericho? Why do you think they shut up their gates? They said, man, we heard about y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all God from Egypt, man. We heard what y'all God did for y'all. Shut up the gates.
Yeah.
So the Lord is gonna magnify His name again throughout the earth.
And if I may, bro, even then, that was still in this flesh.
Yep.
How much more so in a new body? We'll never be as aligned to the T until we get those new bodies.
Right.
That's gonna be a next level of alignment with our power.
Oh man, bro, the new body's gonna be
Crazy.
It's gonna be on a whole, like, you think in your mind what, like, you can think in your mind all the things that you want to do and all the things that you're gonna be doing, but it's still not gonna. It still doesn't compare.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like what we're gonna be like. Every thought that you have being perfect. Like every thought that you have, everything you do is gonna be in line with the will of the Lord. Everything that you do. You know what I'm saying? The heathen ain't gonna have that. So them assholes out there that still want to try to equate the new covenant with the heathen being tied to it, you're gonna be destroyed right along with them. But that's a whole nother topic. But you got it out.
Drop down verse 7.
This is Joel chapter 2 and verse 7. It reads, "They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war."
Right. They shall run like mighty men. They gonna be quick. They gonna be fast, man. They gonna hit their mark. So they gonna climb the wall like men of war. That's that nuclear fire. All right, that's gonna be running through the city. Okay, and that shit happens quick. We talking about milliseconds when it's detonated. Okay, so if you in the site, we here in Dallas. One nuke go down there in Dallas. If you still in the downtown area for like 15 kilometers, 20 kilometers, you done. You fried food, like it ain't no radiation sickness. Like, nah, nigga, you're done. You're cooked meals. So continue.
Yep. Continuing on, Joel chapter 2, verse 7, middle of the verse. "And they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks."
Bingo. They say they shall not break their ranks. All right. We'll continue. It's going to expound. Verse 8.
Joel 2 and 8. "Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded."
Right. So they say they're not going to break their ranks. That means they're going to go and they're going to hit the mark where the Lord designed them to hit. All right. It says when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. So that golden dome, like we read earlier, that Esau has planned up in his mind to do. All right, that defense system ain't gonna work. You ain't gonna you ain't shooting down no nukes, bro. Every nuke that the heathen sent over here is gonna fall on that specific mark that the Lord has planned out.
Rashad, if I may say, because Russia's Satan
2
and Satan 2 missiles. It's one missile with a bunch of missiles in it.
Yeah.
Okay. So even though that Golden Dome might strike the initial carrier, it's just gonna break apart and send out another 25 or 30, missiles out of that one missile to hit the point or to hit the designated area.
Yep.
I got the precept for that. This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 13. For strong is his right hand, got handed the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world.
It's obviously we had that for later, but you can speak on it since you brought it up.
Oh yeah, just backing the brother up when these missiles begin to hit their mark. Basically, it goes into that word meaning. If you ever heard of broken arrow, that's not going to take place where a nuclear missile fails. They are going to go where Yahweh Shem shot designed them to hit. So that's backing up what you're saying. It's not going to miss its mark.
Well, that word sword in that verse is shalach. When you get it, it literally says missile. Weapon, missile, shoot. That's that word, missile.
Yep. Yep. 79, 73, Shalak, missile, weapon. We ain't making this up, man.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't making it up. It shows that the Lord is with his men. So there's nothing that you can say against his truth. There's nothing that you can say to us to break our faith, man. We know that, through all this bullshit that we got to go through on our daily life, week in and week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, that eventually this shit gonna come to an end, man. It's gonna come to an abrupt end. We ain't gotta continue to deal with 230 niggas. All right, we ain't gotta deal with Esau and this bullshit in the games that he played, that he has set up throughout the earth to run the earth the way he runs it, which is a horrible, horrible fucking example of how to run the earth, man. You look at the animals, they're hella displaced. They're damn near to certain animals are to the brink of extinction. The Lord has to hide these animals from this nigga so he don't wipe them all away. It's just a dystopia, the world that we live in right now, man. And if you want to stay here, nigga. May the Lord burn you up or kill you in any fashion that he has designed for you, man.
Hey, Wisdom Solomon 5. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 21, just going into the point that the brother just read in 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 13. It says, "Then shall the right aiming thunderbolts go abroad, and from the cloud, as a well-drawn blow, go abroad from the cloud, from a well-drawn bow, shall they fly to the mark." Just going back.
No, you guys
just going back into the point that the arrows that are shot from these other nations, they're gonna hit their point, regardless. And then on top of that, the chariots are gonna be shooting on this place as well.
That's right.
So it's gonna be direct energy weapons from the chariots and from these other nations. Hell, North Korea gonna get involved. What you mean?
Well, a lot of these, I truly believe that the defense systems here in America are going to completely fail. You know what I'm saying? To the point to where they're not going to be able to shoot down on missiles. I mean, when you read in the prophecy in Jeremiah, it tells you how the king's hands wax feeble due to the report that he's going to hear. Right. And we know, and we believe that king in Babylon is talking about DJ Trump. But whoever that king is, which we believe it is Donald J. Trump, but at the end of the day, they're going to hear a report that they're not that they're going to try to make negotiations to stop it, but they're not going to be able to do it. You know what I mean? So with their whole defense system being set up, which is really this Golden Dome, landing back on the point of the lesson, also goes into surveillance.
Yeah.
Completely surveillance in the people as well too. Yeah. It's not going to be to no avail. It's not, the defense itself is not going to work. You know what I'm saying? Because the chariots have the power to shut down defense systems too.
Yeah.
Whereas their missile defense system could just shut off.
And that did happen at one time. The chariot was hovering over the silo, and they activated the silo and then shut it off. Yeah. So it shows, the power is in the hands of the Yahweh Shem Shai. He moves it, according to his will.
He's the one that gave Esau the sword.
Kind of.
It's his sword at the end of the day. It's the Lord's sword. You got it.
You got it.
jump to Joel 3 and 9 for me. You know, read through that a little bit.
This is Joel chapter 3. I'm starting verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty man. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up.
That's Zephaniah 3. You know, the Lord's determination to gather the nations, man. Okay? He's going to gather them for war. You know, like what the priest house I mentioned earlier, over there in the eastern Levant region, man. World War III will take place. Okay? What was the River Euphrates? That's already dried up. Okay, you know, we was watching that dry up from 2020 to about 2023, 2024. You can walk through there now, you know. So that just show you how much, you know, what type of time we in, you know.
Right. Yeah. I had a stat real quick. This is on Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. It says unprecedented rise. It says unprecedented rise in global military expenditure as European and Middle East spending surges. And I'm just going to read the point. It says global military expenditure increased to 2.7 trillion in 2024, the 10th year of consecutive rises. The world's 15 largest spenders in 2024 all increased their military expenditure. Over 100 countries around the world raised their military spending in 2024 as governments increasingly prioritize military security.
Let the leak sound strong.
Just going into that precept. You know, we see all the nations of the planet Earth getting ready.
Towards much of the battle.
Mm-hmm. I just want to get that real quick, bro.
Keep going on. Oh, go ahead.
This is Matthew. This is Matthew chapter 26, verse 52. It says, "Then say Yahushua unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword." You know, and that's how America was founded upon. It was founded upon death, killing with the sword. All right, we see the example with Native Americans, of course, you know, with you know, the Negroes, but even, you know, with the Revolutionary Wars, man. You know, the independence that America gained was pretty much from fighting against other Edomites. Right. And we see these countries, specifically these Edomite ruled countries like Russia, you know, they're having problems with the war. You know, so it's gonna come down to the sword, and we know it was established upon it. It's going to be destroyed by it. Thus saith Yahushua.
I got something real quick. This Ecclesiastes 3, I'm going to start at verse 1 and jump down to verse 8. It says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Verse 8 says a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And I wanted to bring that out because the brother in Rock had brought up those stats on, what did it say? X amount of nations increasing their military spending by like 100%.
Yeah, 100 countries
Okay.
globally. Yeah,
pretty much we're in that time of war.
Yeah.
You see? That's why I wanted to bring that precept out, but you got it.
Go ahead.
Hey, if I can say too, because we said 100% increase.
It said global military expenditure increased to 2.7 trillion. It's the 10th consecutive year of that being like,
Wow. Oh, so it's exponentially growing. Man.
Over 10 years.
It's grown every year.
Yeah, over 10 years. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's Babylon the Great that really benefits from that too. You know, these weapons manufacturers, like we were just reading, Lockheed Martin.
Right.
You know, so it's beautiful though that Esau's facilitating his own destruction.
That's the book of Obadiah.
Yeah.
It says they that have pretty much they that have eaten my bread have laid a wound underneath thee. You know, and they're going to be caught, and they're not going to know from where it comes from.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, read that again. You said that they increased it to 1.2 trillion.
Yeah, it says global military expenditure increased to 2.7 trillion in 2024.
They tripled it.
The 10th year of consecutive rises.
So America, they spend what, 700 billion on on their military every year.
Yep.
So you telling me that they tripled it to 2.2 trillion?
Yep. Can I read one more sentence out of this?
Yeah.
It says military spending in Europe, including Russia, rose by 17% to 693 billion and was the main contributor to the global increase in 2024, which is Ezekiel 38. The land of unwalled villages being America, but like when we read, we know that chapter is going into Russia, but then also you got the other Western European nations that we know are gonna turn on the whore and burn her with fire.
And even Ezekiel 38, just laying back on that point also too, we know it's talking about America as well, but that also ties in and links with Israel. Because in that same chapter it goes into, pretty much Israel being destroyed.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? The state of Israel. You know what I mean? Which is going to lead to America being destroyed too, because that links up with what? The lease of the flock on Raw Mountain, which America will be tied up in that shit too.
Because Israel doesn't even want to state about their nuclear programs. They haven't had an audit or an inspection in like what 10, 20 years.
Yep.
So they're trying to hide their capacity that they have over there.
And they got them.
And they got
80
of them. They got like 80 of them.
You got Ari, I know you got something.
So like,
Oh no, just talking about those other nations. No, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to go to the point that you brought up with that Matthew, I think it was 26, about getting ready to fight. Yeah, about the sword. Yeah, that's what it was, the sword. This is Revelations chapter 13 and verse 10. It says, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword." And here's the patience and the faith of the saints. But the main part I want to get is the part, he that kills with the sword must be killed by the sword, right? So with the way Esau is living, he lives by the sword, and guess what? He's finna get ready to die by the sword, which is what the brothers are going into as far as the nuclear missiles. But yeah, that's all I was saying.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Esau.
Joel chapter 3 and verse 10. It says, "Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears."
Right, the exact opposite of Isaiah the 2nd chapter. Okay, go ahead.
Let the
Those, as we always break down, those are gardening tools, or farming tools, man. Okay, they're preparing for war. All right, that's the mind frame of the nations right now. Someone hold that 2 Timothy 16 in the verse. I already read 13, so just hold 14 through 17 on standby.
What was that, 2nd 16 you said?
Yeah.
I got it right here.
Okay.
And go ahead.
Shut up. It's Joel chapter 3 verse 10. It says, "Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong."
Right, and that's what especially what's going on over there with in the Middle East with Iran and Israel right now, man. Iran is looked at as that little punk, they say, hey, we strong. Iran really they have that backing. They have Russia behind them. China too. Yeah, they have all these other superpowers behind them. And these regular everyday Babylonians, whether they be Jake or heathen, they ain't really taking account of that, man. They think, like I said, was said earlier, think this is gonna be one of those other wars that just pass over. Right. No, bro, nah. This is finna get hot very fast and very badly.
Yeah, because Jacob, look at the fact that we've been at war for, really, what's the stat? America's been at war like 97% of the time since its inception.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like 230 some years out of the 249, 50 years it has been, here.
No peace.
But even in just modern modernity, in modern times, Jacob say, well, since I've been a kid or a child, America's been at war. Going back to the Middle East, even before that, the Vietnam War for some of the older brothers and sisters. So we've been it's a build up though. That's what Jake don't understand. It's a build-up before it finally gets to that final point where all the nations are pretty much just gonna have enough of American shit, and the Lord is ultimately gonna put that spirit on them to do what they do. You know, but it's a build-up to take place, and that can be decades, as we've seen in these past decades, going into 2000s alone. But you got it already.
Read, finish 11, then you got it already.
It's like,
This is Joel chapter 3, verse 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh Shai.
Right. So the Lord is commanding, through the angels to play on the minds and the kings of these heathen, to prepare for war. Okay? To gather up their men, their women, all right, of their respective nations, and prepare for war against Babylon, man. Because Babylon has too long been that hammer of the earth, that bully of the earth, man. Okay? We ain't in the times of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, fat man and little boy. We ain't in those times no more, man. We ain't atomic bombs no more. We're nuclear capabilities, that can travel throughout the earth. And the thing is, Babylon, you're an idiot. You giving your blessing to everybody else on earth. All these nations have nuclear capabilities now, man. All right, everybody can get busy, man. So all right, you got it. And get a secondary to 16 on standby. Okay.
This is just backing up everything we've been going into with these other nations. This is Jeremiah 51 and 27, and it reads, "Set up ye a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdoms of Ariad, Meni, and Ashenaz, appoint a captain against her, cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars." And here's the point: prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, and we know that's Russia, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And one of the main points Jeremiah was pointing out, he was talking about these nations in the north of Babylon at that time. It's Russia and China over there. And these are those dominant rulers.
Yes, sir.
This is the book of Second Ezra. Sorry, I was gonna say something. This is the book of Second Ezra 16, verse 32. 33. It says, "The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms."
Right. Because we touched on it a little bit earlier, about the drafts. These virgins, which is really going into these young women, or older women too. They're not gonna have a protective mate in that day, man. Because all their men, majority of the men, gonna be shipped off to war. Go ahead.
"The women shall mourn, having no husbands.
Mm-hmm.
Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers.
Yep.
In the wars," verse 34, "in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine."
Yeah. So they gonna die out there, man. The famine that's gonna majority take place, that orchestrated famine that's gonna take place here in Babylon, man. Okay, because obviously the earth ain't running out of food. That's never gonna happen. But the fact that Esau is just gonna cut off all those main streams of services of transporting goods, man, here within Babylon, that's what's gonna create that famine. And a lot of people are gonna die from that.
If I could add too, because like we read in Joel, the 3rd chapter, when it says turn the plowshares and the pruning hooks and like all that farming material, all the production, all the creation, like that's nations investing in their war material. So of course, out of that, what you're gonna see, how is that manifest out physically in today's time? Well, that makes itself known and visible in the loss of jobs.
Yeah.
The people, they're not going to have jobs because war is getting geared up. Your local Starbucks gig, well, that's not going to exist in the economy that's geared by where the kings are preparing for war. These tariffs, right? These sanctions this country's putting on each other, that's in all preparation and hits in the economy of preparing for war. Let's not give them energy so that they can feed their process and production of war. It's a when you add, I asked ChatGPT to chat. As a chat, what how a siege Like, what does a siege look like in today's time? A pre-siege is pretty much sanctions, man.
Yep.
Sanctions on a military on a country, or tariffs. This is pre-siege. This is war talk we're already in.
Yeah.
You know, so we see that playing out within the economy now, and that's Joel 3. You know, before our eyes, man.
For sure. So like, that's the big beautiful bill, you know, because he took out, you know, all the benefits, all right. So y'all can already, or so that people can already be in the mindset of, you know, I have to direct all my energy towards what's going to be available, and the only thing that's going to be available is, hey, I got to go to the army. They're going to sustain me and my family.
Yeah.
So he's driving all the lower class that way because they're what's that, cannon fodder.
Yeah.
Cannon fodder. You know, so it's just bodies. They need bodies.
Yeah.
And so they go to the lower class. They're going to take the illegals, you know, and make them into human shields.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's through taxation as well.
Right.
Taxation to further the war machine. You know, like these heavy tax burdens, it's gonna be pushed for the things that's happening in the Middle East right now as we speak.
Yep. Cutting off SNAP,
Yep.
cutting off, you know, food stamps and things of that nature, and also adding more money to ICE and these particular you know, agencies that are gathering up so-called illegals and things of that nature. You know, we clearly see what Esau is doing. You know what I'm saying? We clearly see what's going on through the spirit, but you know, these things have to happen. You know.
Yep. You had anything else, Tyler?
I had a precept real quick going into the Warriors. This is Isaiah 3 and let's see, I'll read verse 24 and 25. It says, and it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell, there shall be stink. And instead of a girdle, a rent. And instead of well-set hair, baldness. And instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth. But also all this represents mourning as well, too. It says, and burning instead of beauty. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. Going into World War III, going into that draft. You know, a lot of men are going to be gone. You know, it's going to leave a lot of women out here being left to their own devices, which you're going to have women who are, you know, that are going to be getting raped, and out here. You know, they're really not going to have no protection, you know, unless that woman has a man, you know, who's been serving Yahweh by Shemal Shai, and that, you know, that household is protected. But a lot of these women out here, they're going to be left to their own devices. You know, you're going to have women that's going to get drafted, but a lot of men are going to get drafted too. There's going to be more men than women.
Yep.
You know, that was it on that.
Can I go back to 2nd Ezra 12? You're going to read all the way down to 17 right here.
16 and 12.
Yeah, all 16 as
2nd Ezra 16 and 12, it says, the earth quaketh and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled.
Right. We spoke on that a little bit earlier. You know, the influx of chariots, all right, from the Most High coming down in this lower realm. All right, Yahushua himself coming into this lower realm with the angels. That's going to shake up the earth. Then you got the nuclear missiles to coincide with that, man. All right, that's going to also shake up the earth. Continuation.
It says, and the fishes thereof also, before the Lord and before the glory of his power.
Go ahead.
For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow.
Right. It tells you about that in Revelation the 6th chapter, man. You know, about that one that sit upon that white horse. All right, he had that bow. All right, and arrows, man. You know, loosely paraphrasing. That's Yahushua. He's that right hand from the Almighty. So the Lord is orchestrating this future destruction of Babylon the Great. Go ahead.
It says, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world.
Right. Ariana read this earlier. So when these get shot, even Babylon's gonna be shooting missiles too. All right. So when Babylon shoot their missiles, they're gonna hit that particular targets as well, man. All right. At the end of the day, this army is the army of the Lord, like we read earlier in Joel the 2nd chapter. Okay. These missiles are being orchestrated and controlled by the angels of on high, man. Go ahead.
Verse 14, it says, behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. the fire is kindled and shall not be put out, till it consume the foundation of the earth.
Right. That scripture say, the earth abideth forever. So the earth ain't gonna be destroyed, man. All right, it's gonna be particular sections of the earth that's gonna be in turmoil from the nuclear destruction. Okay, but Babylon the Great, you gonna be completely dusted off, man. But it's gonna be a remnant of its left, to be shown. Okay,
Like that Elmo meme with the fire. It's like,
That's
that's how the men of the world gonna be looking down at Babylon, man.
God.
In Revelation 15, and I'll continue on. 2 Ezra 16 and 16, it says, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again.
So the Lord ain't gonna stop the plagues. All right, He's not gonna call back these plagues, ultimate plague. It's not gonna be stopped until it's completed its mission. All right, till Babylon the Great is drenched and melted to a boiling point of molten lava from nuclear destruction. The Lord ain't gonna let it stop.
Well, the scripture says that He's the one that creates the smith that blows the coals in the fire, and those are the weapons of His indignation. So they're going to do what they're meant to do, because the Lord ultimately is the one that's going to be controlling the missiles.
Now I'm gonna read this last verse of 17, 2 Ezra 16 and 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? And this is from Esdras. It's showing you what that's a heavy pre, because it shows you reincarnation. All right, he's telling himself like, hey, I'm gonna be there. I know I'm gonna be there too. Okay, so the men of the Lord, they knew that they would be there, in these latter days that we're currently living in, man. We don't know who they are. That's all up to Yahweh Shem Shai. Who these men are in their particular lot. Okay, but we know they're here amongst us somewhere. Okay, so we're all in that mind frame as well. We in that mind frame constantly. That's why we call ourselves, the hopeful elect. We pray that Yahweh Shem Shai, delivers us from that nuclear fire, man. Because we know that shit gonna hurt. 2/3 of our people, you in that mindset of you done heard the truth, you done heard the men of the Lord speak. And if you in that dumbass mindset, well, I'm gonna be in the kingdom anyway. Nah, bro. Nah. To be able to walk in the kingdom, all right, to be delivered first, you don't want that way more than being destroyed, bro. The Most High through Yahushua created us, man. He knows what makes us tick. So how much more, we let the king of terrorists, put all types of hell on you, man. You think you want that, the Jake really don't want that, man.
But that goes into that second day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The first one was the flood, but everybody thinking that the second one is nothing.
Yeah. Thinking that la-di-da-di-da ass mindset, that shit gonna bite Jake in the ass.
Hey, can I read this real quick? That's an ask ChatGPT. Ask the chat, man. How likely would a nation be able to stop a nuclear missile from hitting them? It says the likelihood of a nation successfully stopping a nuclear missile, especially an intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM, depends on several key factors, but overall, it's extremely difficult. And most experts agree that no missile defense system today is foolproof. Here's a breakdown of the changes. It says ICBM. Here's just a little information on the ICBM. It travels at Mach 20 plus. That's 15,000 plus miles per hour. It says, and once it's launched, a missile reaches space in minutes. Warheads split off and re-enter the atmosphere at an extreme speed, which is it being dipped in that sword being dipped in heaven. And it says, how likely is the good stuff. So how likely is a successful intercept? One short-range missile is fairly possible at 30 to 70%. One ICBM missile with no decoys is low, 30 to 10 to 50%. Multiple ICBM missiles with MIRVs and decoys, a full-scale or Russia or China attack is it's very low, 0 to 10% chance that they would be able to stop a missile.
A missile.
It says, matter of fact, it says, bottom line, stopping a single nuclear missile is difficult but possible under ideal conditions. Stopping a large-scale, sophisticated nuclear attack is virtually impossible